Quick question, and be honest. When was the last time you cooked a proper meal at home? Not reheated something, not just toast, actually stood at the stove and made something from scratch. If you're hesitating right now, this episode is for you. Today we're talking about one of the most universal lifestyle debates, cooking at home versus eating out. And along the way, you're going to pick up real English vocabulary, natural idioms, and conversation phrases you can use starting today. Stay with us. Hello, and welcome to the Porch English, the podcast where real conversations help you build real English. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Ryan. So glad you're here today. And today's topic, I have a lot of feelings about this one.
Do you? Are you a cook-at-home person or an eat-out person?
Honestly, I go back and forth. There are weeks when I'm cooking every night, really proud of myself. And then there are weeks when my kitchen is basically a place where I store takeout containers.
A very relatable answer. I'm going to say I'm more of a home cook. But I have to admit, on those Fridays when I'm completely drained, the idea of chopping anything feels genuinely impossible.
And that's exactly the tension we're going to explore today. Both sides of this debate. The honest reality of cooking at home, the appeal of eating out, and how to think about making better choices for your health, your wallet, and your time.
And the whole way through, we'll be teaching you real English. Vocabulary that actually comes up in everyday life. Idioms that native speakers use all the time, in the UK and the US. So whether you're here to improve your English, think about your food habits, or both, you're in the right place.
Before we dive in, 3 questions to hold in your mind as you listen. 1. Do you cook at home or eat out more often, and why? 2. What's one thing you actually enjoy about cooking, if anything? 3. What's the biggest barrier that stops you from cooking more? Keep those in mind. We'll come back to them.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe or follow the Porchlight English wherever you're listening. New episode every single day, completely free. All right, Ryan, let's get into it.
So let's set the scene. Over the last decade or so, eating out has become incredibly normalized, especially in cities. There are apps that deliver restaurant food to your door in 20 minutes. There are meal deals on every high street corner. There are cafes that open before 7 a.m. The infrastructure around not cooking has never been more convenient.
And yet, there's this quiet movement going in the opposite direction. People who are cooking at home more deliberately, who are thinking carefully about what they put in their bodies, who are finding something meaningful in the act of preparing their own food.
So why does this debate matter for English learners specifically?
Because it's a topic you'll talk about constantly in English, with friends, with flatmates, with colleagues at lunch. Do you cook? Where do you usually eat? What did you have for dinner? These are some of the most common everyday conversations in English, in both the US and the UK. So knowing how to talk about food, habits, preferences, and choices fluently and naturally is genuinely useful.
And the idioms that come up in this conversation are ones you'll hear in many other contexts too, which we'll get into in detail later.
Exactly. Okay, let's start with the case for cooking at home. Ryan, you've done both. What do you actually notice when you're cooking more?
Honestly, the first thing I notice is how much better I feel. And I don't mean that in a smug way. I just mean when I know what went into my food, when I'm not guessing about ingredients or portion sizes, I feel more in control, more grounded.
That sense of control is one of the most commonly cited reasons people prefer home cooking. You decide exactly what goes in. No hidden salt, no excess oil, no sauces you didn't ask for. It's your kitchen, your choices.
That sense of control is one of the most commonly cited reasons people prefer home cooking. You decide exactly what goes in. No hidden salt, no excess oil, no sauces you didn't ask for. It's your kitchen, your choices.
That's not an exaggeration either. And over time, the difference really adds up. A lot of people don't realize how much they're spending on food until they actually track it for a month.
Okay, but let's be fair. Eating out isn't just laziness. There are real, legitimate reasons people choose it.
Absolutely. Let's not pretend otherwise.
First, time, or rather, the lack of it. If you're working long hours, commuting, managing children, running errands, by the time you get home, the idea of planning a meal, shopping for ingredients, cooking, and then cleaning up feels genuinely overwhelming. Ordering something or picking something up is just practical.
And that's not a character flaw, that's just life. Modern life in particular is incredibly demanding. There's real pressure on people's time and energy.
Second, experience. Eating out isn't just about the food. It's about the atmosphere, the occasion, trying a cuisine you'd never cook at home, having someone serve you, taking a break from the routine. There's genuine value in that.
My favorite meals are often ones I've had in restaurants. Not because the food was technically superior, but because of everything around it. Who I was with, the conversation, the setting. Food is social, and restaurants provide a stage for that.
Third, variety. Unless you're a very adventurous home cook, you probably rotate through a fairly limited set of recipes. Eating out exposes you to different techniques, flavor combinations, cuisines from around the world. That can actually inspire your home cooking too.
So it's not really eating out versus cooking at home as opposites. It's more about finding the right balance for your life, your budget, and your values. Okay, now let's get into the language. Because this is the Porchlight English, and we want you to walk away with real vocabulary and idioms you can actually use. Ryan, you ready?
Ready.
First idiom, to be run off your feet. This means to be extremely busy, so busy you barely have time to stop. It's very common in British English especially. I've been run off my feet this week. I haven't had a proper meal in days.
You hear this a lot in UK work contexts. It paints this image of someone rushing around so fast their feet can barely keep up. And it explains perfectly why someone reaches for takeout. They've been run off their feet.
Second, to cook from scratch. This means making something entirely yourself, starting with raw ingredients. No shortcuts, no pre-made sauces, no packets. She made the pasta sauce from scratch. It took 2 hours, but it was incredible. Cooking from scratch is often seen as the gold standard of home cooking.
Third idiom, a piece of cake. This is a classic English idiom meaning something is very easy. Once you get the hang of it, cooking simple meals is a piece of cake. It doesn't literally mean cake. It means straightforward and effortless.
Fourth, to cut corners. This means to do something the easy or cheap way, often at the expense of quality. I don't like cutting corners with food. I'd rather take the time to do it properly. Or, the restaurant was clearly cutting corners. The portions were tiny and the food was bland.
Fifth idiom, money down the drain. To spend money on something that gives you no return. Wasted money. If you're ordering expensive takeout every night and eating it alone in front of the TV, that starts to feel like money down the drain. You could have eaten better and cheaper at home.
Sixth, to get the hang of something. This means to gradually learn how to do something well. I struggled with cooking at first, but once I got the hang of it, I actually started to enjoy it. It takes a bit of practice, but it comes.
Seventh, to start the day off on the right foot. This means to begin your day in a positive, productive way. A proper breakfast, something you've made yourself, really helps you start the day off on the right foot, versus grabbing something processed on your way out the door.
And eighth, a very useful one, to turn over a new leaf. This means to make a fresh start and change your behavior for the better. I've decided to turn over a new leaf with my eating habits. Less takeout, more home cooking, more vegetables. It's about intentional change. Okay, now let's put all of this into a real, natural conversation. Ryan and I are going to debate this properly. Listen for the vocabulary and idioms, see how many you can spot.
Let's go. Amanda, I know you cook at home a lot. I'm genuinely trying to do the same, but I've got to be honest. This week I've been completely run off my feet. I ended up ordering delivery 4 nights in a row.
4 nights! Okay, I'm not judging, but that must have added up. What was the damage financially?
I don't want to think about it. It felt like money down the drain, honestly. Especially because half the time the food was just fine. Not even great. Just fine.
That's the thing with delivery, right? You pay restaurant prices, plus delivery fees, plus tip, and you get lukewarm food in a box. At least when you go out and actually sit in the restaurant, you get the atmosphere and the experience. Delivery is the worst of both worlds sometimes.
You're not wrong. So what would you have done in my situation? How do you cook when you're genuinely exhausted?
Honestly, I keep it simple. I don't try to cook from scratch every single night when I'm tired. That's not realistic. But I do a bit of prep at the weekend. I'll roast a big tray of vegetables, cook a batch of grains, maybe make a sauce. And then during the week, throwing a meal together is a piece of cake. 10 minutes, 15 minutes max.
So you're not actually cooking from scratch every night.
No, and I think that's where people go wrong. They imagine home cooking as this big, elaborate production. But it doesn't have to be. A bowl of pasta with olive oil, garlic, and whatever vegetables you have, 20 minutes. Cheap, delicious. You don't need to cut corners. You just need to work smart.
I think I've been making it too complicated in my head. Like it's an all or nothing thing.
Exactly. And that's why people give up. You don't have to turn into a chef. You just need to turn over a new leaf, a small one. Start with 1 or 2 meals a week.
What would you start with?
Breakfast, honestly. It's the easiest win. Eggs in some form, scrambled, fried, a quick omelet. Takes 5 minutes. And it sets you up. You start the day off on the right foot, and that energy often carries through. You're less likely to grab something rubbish at lunch when you've already made one good decision in the morning.
That's actually a really good point. Small wins build momentum.
And once you get the hang of a few basic meals, really get comfortable with them, your confidence grows. You start experimenting. You realize cooking isn't this scary, complicated thing. It's actually quite satisfying.
I do remember that feeling. When I was cooking more regularly, there was something almost meditative about it. Like, I'm at my stove, music on, just focused on this one thing. It was a nice break from screens.
That's it. For a lot of people, cooking becomes a form of unwinding. The act of preparing food with your hands, it's grounding, it's present. You're not scrolling, you're not half watching something, you're just cooking.
Okay, I'm genuinely inspired. I'm going to make a proper effort this week. Starting with Sunday, I'll do a bit of prep. Maybe roast some vegetables like you said.
That's all it takes. And Ryan, I'll text you a recipe. Something simple that will actually make you look forward to eating at home.
Please do. All right, everyone. That's the real conversation. Did you spot the idioms?
Let's make this actionable. Because learning English is great, but we also want you to actually use what we discussed. Here are 5 practical tips for cooking more at home, especially if you're busy.
Tip 1. Keep it simple to start. Forget complicated recipes. The goal at the beginning is just to cook something. Anything. A good rule of thumb: if a recipe has more than 7 ingredients or more than 30 minutes of active cooking time, save it for the weekend.
Tip 2. Do a weekly prep session. Even just an hour on Sunday changes everything. Wash and chop vegetables. Cook a big batch of rice or pasta. Boil some eggs. Make a simple sauce. When your ingredients are already prepped, pulling a meal together on a Tuesday night is genuinely quick.
Tip 3. Learn 5 core meals really well, not 50. 5. A pasta dish, a stir-fry, a simple soup, eggs in some form, a grain bowl. Once you can make those 5 confidently, you'll never be without a plan.
Tip 4. Make cooking social when you can. Cooking with someone else, a flatmate, a partner, a friend, makes it faster and more enjoyable. Many hands make light work, as they say. And the conversation that happens in a kitchen while you're cooking is some of the best conversation there is.
Tip 5. Stop comparing your meals to restaurant food. Home cooking is different, not worse, just different. It doesn't need to be Instagram worthy. It just needs to nourish you and taste good to you. That's enough.
Let's check your understanding with a quick quiz. 3 questions. Think carefully before you check the answers below.
Question 1. What does Amanda mean when she says, delivery is the worst of both worlds?
Question 2. Ryan says the cooking session felt meditative. What does meditative mean, and why does cooking feel that way to him?
Question 3. What is the main reason Amanda suggests starting with breakfast? Give 2 reasons she mentions.
Now, your turn to speak. Or write. Or think. Here are the 3 reflection questions we gave you at the start. See if your answers have changed after listening.
1. Do you cook at home or eat out more often? And why? Try to use at least one idiom from today when you answer this.
2. What's one thing you actually enjoy about cooking? Or one thing you like to enjoy about it, if you could get over whatever's stopping you?
3. What's one small change you could make this week to cook just a little bit more at home? 1 meal, 1 breakfast, 1 batch of rice on Sunday. Just 1.
Practice saying your answers out loud, even if no one is listening, especially if no one is listening. That's where the fluency actually builds.
Let's wrap up. Today we explored the cooking at home versus eating out debate, honestly, and from both sides.
We talked about the real benefits of cooking at home, knowing your ingredients, saving money, building a skill, and finding calm in the kitchen.
We acknowledged that eating out has its place too, for experience, variety, social occasions, and when life just gets overwhelming.
And we walked through 8 real English idioms: run off your feet, money down the drain, from scratch, a piece of cake, cut corners, get the hang of it, start the day off on the right foot, and turn over a new leaf.
All of them came up naturally in conversation, because that is how idioms actually work. Not in isolation, in context.
Your challenge this week: cook 1 meal at home that you'd normally order out. Doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be perfect. Just make something, eat it, and notice how it feels.
And then tell us. Leave us a comment wherever you're listening. What did you make? Did any of the idioms come to mind while you were doing it?
Thank you so much for being here. Please follow or subscribe to the Porchlight English. New episode every single day. Share this one with someone who's been meaning to cook more.
From the Porchlight English, keep the light on. See you tomorrow.
Bye for now.